Okay, well, it's been a while, um, and I hope this works, and I hope everything goes well. But hello again. It has been. Oh, that was loud. Quiet down, phone. You don't have to make yourself known. Hi. It's been a long time since I last did this. In fact, um, I upload these directly to YouTube right afterwards, so I can quickly see how long it's been. But it has been a while. Um, it has been a year, according to YouTube. Um, let me see. Yeah. In fact, it has been over a year since I last did this, and a lot has happened in that time. I've moved, so I am in a new place. I'm actually in a house now, which is not where I was before. I was in an apartment. I still live with the same people. Fantastic roommates. Um, I have I'm at a new place with my job. Things have not been great the last few weeks, but that's neither here nor there. So part of my process for trying to do things. This is a lot to drop on the like six people that the one person that's watching. Hi. Um, Part of my process for trying to do better for myself is to try to start trying to make time to do more things that I like and making time for that. So streaming is something that I've always enjoyed. I don't do it very often, but it is something that I like. And so I just decided I would fire up some Starfield. It's late. It is 1 a.m. It is the middle of the night. I'm not going to be on for long. I'm literally just going to be flying around doing some quests and stuff. Quick thing, it's in the title for the stream, but I am in New Game Plus. So I have finished the main story. I am well past the start of a second playthrough. So if for any reason you have not played through the main story of Starfield and you don't want to get spoiled, leave now. Don't even bother watching because there is some stuff that's going to get spoiled. It's one of the reasons that I started on the pause menu, because I didn't want people to get spoiled right away. But yeah, so I'm going to try to do this more often. I am not going to make any promises, mainly because it is so difficult for me to find the time to do this. Again, living with roommates and stuff can make it a little bit more difficult because I don't want to do it with them here just because I don't want them to, feel like they're pressured to act a certain way or anything like that. So, with that being said, I do want to do this more often. And I felt what better time than jumping into New Game Plus with Starfield than to just kind of fuck around. Um, and, we can talk about some stuff. We can talk about things going on in the industry and things like that. Many of you hopefully know me as the guy who does these random once, every circulation around the sun streams. But some of you may actually follow me from my two stints hosting a video game podcast, both of which did not go very well in terms of long term success and commitment. The first time ended because of just drama. The second time, we ended up moving. So we had started that podcast 2 apartments ago. We moved into our previous apartment. And the process of moving and unpacking and everything, we knew we were going to take some time off. And we just never got back around to doing it again. I'm still squatting on the website and all of that stuff. So I'm not saying that the ABXY cast is dead permanently. I would like to bring it back in some fashion, but if it does come back, it'll probably just be a solo thing, something that I can do, and it'll definitely be way less frequent than once a week, just because I really think that that's for the best for me, just to make sure that I have the time and the space to do it. Um, but yeah, so Starfield. I guess before we, while we get into this, I can give you my thoughts. I am going to go really quickly into the audio settings and just turn the master volume down so that I can hear myself think while I'm talking about this. I really like this game. I am not surprised that I like this game. And the reason I say I'm not surprised that I like this game is because I am a big fan of Bethesda games. I love their formula. I love their particular style. I really do. I think it is, for me, it is one of the few things that I can genuinely say, no matter what they do, I really like it. That's not to say that they're perfect. Obviously, they've definitely made some missteps in the past, with on a lot of different fronts. But for me, I really, really, really like their style of game. And my first foray into this style of game was Oblivion, way back in 2006, which is what 19 years ago. No, not 19 years ago. I can't math. 17 years ago. So that was my first foray into this type of game. And since then, I have played pretty much. No, I have played every single Bethesda Game Studios game. I played Morrowind. I've played Fallout 3. I played Skyrim, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, and now this game. Um, I can definitely say it's too early to say Starfield is my favorite of their type of games that they make, but it is definitely better in almost every way than Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. And it's up there for me with the likes of the Elder Scrolls games, which is a huge, huge win for this game because I went into this game with really high expectations, and for it to live up to those expectations in the way that it has is really just really good because I was worried that this game was not going to live up to my expectations because I had really, really high expectations for this game. I think that it is an understatement for me to say that this was my most anticipated game of the year. And while it hasn't rocked my expectations quite like Baldur's Gate 3, which was, I forgot was coming out this year, wasn't even really on my radar, and has turned out to be probably my personal game of the year for 2023. In a year of bangers, we're going to talk about it. But in a year of bangers, Baldur's Gate 3 is probably my contender, my top contender right now for Game of the Year. And it will probably stay my top contender because I don't think I've played enough of Starfield to know that while this is a really ambitious game, there are some things that hold it back from being a Baldur's Gate 3 level Game of the Year contender. And I doubt Spider-Man 2, which is really the last big game release of the year that I'm looking forward to. I doubt that that game is going to be such a tour de force that it knocks Baldur's Gate 3 off the pedestal. But I will say that this game, while it hasn't blown my expectations out of the water, it has met my expectations pretty much across the board. And it has exceeded them in some ways. I was not expecting a really good story in this game. And while I definitely think this is not the best video game story, Bethesda is not capable of writing a quality story that would compete with games like The Last of Us and Uncharted and things like that. Games that have really defined core narratives. This is not going to compete with that. What it is going to compete with, though, is the rest of their lineup. And I think that this is probably the best story in one of their games since, like, the Oblivion Fallout 3 days. Because it's the same level of simple. You know, it's not trying to be super, super complicated, but it's also still very interesting and one thing that I like about this particular um, game is that its story is very Nolan-esque in some interesting ways. Uh, so it's definitely a game that I think has lived up to the hype for me in a lot of ways. So I very incoherent thoughts and ramblings there, but definitely I'm very happy with how this game turned out. Um, because there's definitely a lot that could have gone wrong with this particular game. When all is said and done, there was a lot that could have gone wrong with it. I am, just to avoid any additional spoilers, I am going to probably just play some of the main story missions. I did opt in my New Game Plus playthrough to replay the main story, mainly just to give me more time to spend with good old Sam here, my space cowboy boyfriend. Um, but I did opt to do it again. You do have the option to skip it and basically just get a list of locations to go to collect artifacts, and then eventually a list of locations to go to collect the powers. But I did decide for my second playthrough, at least, I did want to play through the story again. Um, I will also say this is not a fully vanilla experience. I do have some mods installed, mainly the big ones that I have installed right now are I have the DLSS injection mod, which is basically just exactly what it says on the tin. It is injecting DLSS, NVIDIA's hardware accelerated upscaler, into the game to replace FSR2. While I appreciate what AMD is doing in terms of creating an open source GPU agnostic alternative to DLSS, there is something about having that native hardware accelerated option. It's basic. AMD at this point is the only manufacturer of GPUs that doesn't have a native version of this. NVIDIA has a hardware accelerated version with DLSS, XeSS on Intel's GPUs, which is hardware accelerated. Even Apple has Metal FX upscaling, which is a hardware accelerated upscaler. So AMD is the only ones that don't. So I injected DLSS in because I think it's important. It did provide a small performance improvement, not a massive one, but it did at least provide something. And I think it looks cleaner, which is more important necessarily than the frame rate. I also have a couple of UI mods. Shush. I do have a couple of other mods installed. I am actually going to turn the volume down a little bit more just for my sake, because it is. I'm also going to turn the music down just so I don't get flagged for anything. Uh, but but no. So I also have some UI mods installed. Mainly, the big one is Star UI, which basically is just a revamp of the user interface for the inventory. I have the clean field fix, which basically eliminates all the intro movies and the message of the day on the main menu. And then I have basically a mod that makes this menu pop up faster, and the rest of the menus pop up faster, as well as basically make sure that the frame rate in all of these menus is 60 FPS. I will say I am not getting a locked 60, even with my settings where they are. So I actually have everything on medium, which and I have my res scale set 67%, which is the standard for DLSS quality mode, even at 1440p. But I do have all of this set to medium, and I get a mostly locked 30 frames per second, but not always. So even with a beefier rig, I don't claim to have the beefiest because I don't, but I do have a 3070. I have 32 gigabytes of RAM. I have a Core i5 a 12th gen, 12th gen Core i5, a 12600K, 12600K, I think is what it is, something like that. But it's a Core i5 12th gen, um, with no integrated graphics. So, and I have this game installed on a Gen 3, not a Gen 4, but a Gen 3 NVMe SSD. So I am well above the minimum recommendation and recommended specifications for the game. Um, there's definitely some optimizations that need to be made in this game, both from a driver standpoint on NVIDIA GPUs. There was some issues with like rebar support and a few other things. And also, just from a Bethesda side, I think this game needs a little bit more optimization on the PC front. Um, I think a lot of the limitations are just limitations of their engine and limitations of the scale and scope of what they're trying to do, but I think some optimization is needed. So definitely I'm looking forward to seeing that um, in the next, hopefully, few weeks and months.
Don't you lin me. I thought things had already gone
Oh
sideways.
my
But no,
goodness.
that was just the beginning.
Yes, I know
Looks
some
like
stuff happened after we
well,
left the first time.
weren't as lucky this time. Calvert, Troy,
But like I was saying,
some of the species.
you have to give them credit.
Make
This game has met my expectations, which were pretty high. Like I watched the 45-minute video that they showed at E3, and I literally by the end of it, my jaw was on the floor because I
you
was.
weren't here.
This was literally
I was pinned down by
every
something
video type of
trapped.
video game you could possibly want.
Sapphire
This
everywhere.
game was it.
No
It was a
smiles, no damn
space
caring.
dogfighting game. It was a Bethesda RPG. It was a
I started feeling
settlement builder with the outpost system. You could
then
build and
that
customize your ships. You could do
tiny
all of these things
voice says,
that you
stay
can't do in a
still.
lot of other
I got
games.
this.
Um, and it was interesting to see just how broad the scope of this game is. And
Nah, the
the
guys
fact that it's
next
lived
door
up to it in a lot of
understand.
different ways
Next
is
door
pretty
two
extraordinary.
of the pirates stay
Obviously, there are a lot of
one
limitations
in a
due to the
hell of a
structure of
mess.
Bethesda's
One
RPGs. A lot of
outpost,
their basically it's a bunch of boxes strung
oh
together by loading
more
screens,
ships. I'm a
and
pandemic.
that's definitely
Third
something
longest in
that
my temporal
kind
lobe.
of breaks the immersion a little bit.
Altered Hella.
Um, the way I describe it, this game is more Outer Worlds from Obsidian than it is No Man's Sky. But it does some things that No Man's Sky doesn't do that I think No Man's Sky should do, particularly when it comes to like ship customization and stuff like that. Um, there's just
I didn't
there's just a
remember
lot
everything.
that this game does
The
right.
longest seconds of my life.
But if you go into this game
One
expecting Star
outpost.
Citizen or No Man's
One that had
Sky,
taken
you're
us
going to
on
be
bullshit.
disappointed. You're going to be very
That's what I
disappointed, I think.
thought either.
If you go into this game expecting the Outer Worlds or Fallout or a previous Bethesda style RPG that just happens to have space as a backdrop and as a core functionality of the experience, then I think you'll be
They could have
pretty
jumped anything.
happy
I
with how
tried
this game
doing
turned out.
transmission to the ship in the
Which is good
longest
because
seconds of my life, but the
2023
pirates
has
kept
been
trying.
a
You wanna try it? Go ahead.
banner
Most of
year
them
for video games. It's been
survived with extreme
crazy how
money.
many good video games have come out this year. And not only
Most
good
of
video
them
games, but
survived
video
with
games that
extreme
had
money.
high
Few
expectations and
motherfuckers.
still turned out to be good, which is a huge thing because you don't see that all the time. Where you have a lot of games come out that are all really high quality and really, really good. I mean, it started with controversy aside, it started with Hogwarts Legacy. That is another game that I had kind of tried to check my expectations at the door because I was very excited for a game set in that universe. Again, controversy aside, I was very excited for a game set in that universe because I have been a Harry Potter fan um, since I was 7 years old. Um, I have been a huge fan of that world and of that franchise. Um, just every aspect of it. I have been a fan my entire life, basically, for the better part of the last 20 plus years. And so the controversy, of course, really upset me because I firmly believe
Private log.
that
Approval of August
um,
conflict heretic. Frequent
the
objective training.
reality of that situation
7548 Alpha.
is
Flight setup
extremely
complete.
difficult for the
Get ready
people
for
who are affected by the choices that J.K. Rowling has made. Um, for me, it was difficult. I don't want to say that it was easy as a decision to decide to play that game. I made the choice personally to play that game because I really, really wanted to. Um, but I understand why people might not want to support that given the situation, and I totally understand that. I really do. Um, like I said, I it was a big conflict for me whether or not I wanted to actually buy that game and support it or not. Because you are indirectly supporting this woman that, while I have to give her all the credit in the world for creating this universe that I grew up absolutely adoring, I can't deny that she had a huge impact on my life. I also can't deny the absolute bigot that she's become when it comes to the trans community. And, so I feel like every conversation about that game, you have to kind of preface it with, your opinions on this system. This is a interesting situation. Do you need a spotter, Sam? Like, I'm having a serious conversation about issues, and you're over here lifting weights on a planet with 0.91 gravity. Oh yeah, look at you go! Look at you go! Oh, that's crazy. That is crazy. Anyway, um, excuse me. But yeah, so I don't think you can have a conversation about that game without addressing the controversy. It's why I also think that despite the quality of that game, I don't think it ever had a serious chance at being game of the year. Even though I think, from a quality perspective, that game definitely in early, in the early part of this year when not a lot of games had come out, I think it definitely stood a chance of being nominated. I think that chance has definitely gone away. It's no longer there, but it definitely had a chance to be nominated at some point. Um, but yeah, so that was the first game that came out this year that I really played with a good bit. Um, and that game was extremely good. Uh, Obviously it wasn't perfect. There's a lot of potential in that game that I think was wasted. Some ideas that I don't think fully were executed on, some decisions from a gameplay perspective that I think could have been better. But I think on the whole, the game was a pretty big success in doing what it set out to do, which was create a world you could explore. And walking around Hogwarts in that particular game was just something that I don't think any game this year has quite fully lived up to in terms of capturing. Uh, like, really, I don't think any game that I've played this year, this one included, has given me the same like sense of childlike wonder and joy as walking around Hogwarts and Hogsmeade in Hogwarts Legacy did. There was just something that, like, the immediate reaction when I walked in to Hogwarts for the first time uh, was something else. And like, again, it's definitely one of those situations, like, you know it sounds cliche and somewhat you know stupid, but like, I was super emotional playing the game because for all the issues surrounding that franchise, surrounding that property, surrounding JK, there is still a deep connection with my childhood and that universe. And, that for me was something that elevated that game to a level that not a lot of games this year have managed to have that impact. In fact, like I said, I don't think any game this year has managed to have that same level of impact for me, even though I wouldn't consider it my personal game of the year, just because there were so many good games that came out this year. Uh, I haven't played some of the other ones I'm going to mention, just because um, the just haven't had time. And the next game that came out that I was really excited for, Resident Evil 4. I just decided I was going to get that game when it went on sale, just because I wasn't as like super excited to play that game. Um, the next one though was Jedi Fallen or Jedi Survivor, which I did want to play, and I almost subscribed to EA Play Pro for $15 to play it, but the game came out in such a shitty state, performance wise, and I think it just recently got patched to be not quote unquote fixed, but to be in a much better place. So I definitely am going to be taking a look at it soon, um, because I definitely think that it's improved to a point now where it might be playable. Um, Tears of the Kingdom, another game I have not played, but I've heard fantastic things about. Um, and then, of course, Baldur's Gate, this Capcom's Street Fighter 6. I mean, it's just been a fantastic year for video games, and there's just been so many good games. But I definitely think that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be my game of the year. I think that that's just it's there's no contest at the moment for that. It's just such a solid role playing game that brings kind of the best of Dungeons and Dragons to the screen the without the table. Um, that it's just extremely extremely fun to play, and I really really enjoy it.
Been keeping my contracts up with Og. Works for me.
Come on, Lynn,
Right.
you're gonna come back to my ship, which I just realized is not on the landing pad, which is an interesting choice. Apparently, my ship landed all the way over there for some reason, but I got put here. I mean, it looks good over there, don't get me wrong. Time to take a picture. I am absolutely adoring photo mode in this game. Um, for a lot of reasons. But I am absolutely loving taking pictures in this game. Let's do. I'll actually show you some. So I have a photo gallery. So this is the first picture I took when I realized there was a photo mode. There's actually two other screenshots that I took before I realized there was a photo mode. Um, and then I took this one. This is when I first got to Neon. I actually posted this on Insta and Twitter and Mastodon and all those other places. I'm on like 6 different social networks now. It's crazy. Um, the implosion of Twitter has created a mess. Then I created this one. I took this one. This one I loved. I just love the horizon shots that you can take, because of how everything is simulated. Like visually, this game is definitely all over the place. There's some scenes where it just looks phenomenal, and there's other scenes where it looks like a last gen game, and then there's some scenes where you kind of get a mix of both, and then there's some where you're like, that is straight out of PlayStation 3 days. Like it's just bad. But there's also like these really just jaw dropping photo moments. Where you just see something and you go into the photo mode and you're like, I'm going to snap a picture of this and it's going to look absolutely beautiful. And then you get a picture like this and like at a glance, it looks great, with the ship in the foreground. And then you have like this space station floating around this planet. But then you look at the texture of the planet and you realize how low resolution it is. And it's just like, would it really have killed VRAM if we had a slightly higher resolution texture for this planet? Because in photo mode, it doesn't look that great. Then you have random shots like this where I'm like, okay, whatever. Uh, you know, but I just love stopping. This is a fighter I built because I was struggling with an endgame space battle. So I I bought the longsword ship from the Deimos Star Yard, basically stripped it for parts, rearranged everything, and built like a super lightweight, super mobile, super fast um, fighter ship that had I think like 4 electron beams on it. Um, Most fun ship to fly. Definitely a lot more fun than the Guardian ship is, and I really like the interior customization. Probably going to end up not using the Guardian ship. I like the Guardian armor. I like the Starborn armor that you get for completing the game, but I don't like the ship. I think it looks cool visually on the outside, and I think that it's a very fun ship to fly. It's very very fast, and it does a lot of damage. But the interior custom, it's just so bland. There's no way to customize it. Like you can't even put like workbenches and stuff on the inside. So it's just a big floating bridge. It's not really that fun of a ship on the inside. But from the outside, it does look good. You know, although the texture of the glass, like this here, is just really really bad. It's unlike any of the other ships because all of the other ships, the glass is see through. Like you can see, there's me right there, flying the ship. You can't see me. This is just a weird, gross texture. So, while I think from like just a silhouette standpoint, it looks really nice. I don't think it's actually that good looking of a ship. I think that like this ship looks better. This ship looks more interesting. A lot of the ships you come across look more interesting. I think the friggin' Frontier. This is a slightly modified, elongated version of the Frontier because I needed to add cargo bays. But like this looks more visually intriguing than this thing. I just think it's definitely like functional, but I don't think it's that good of a ship. Aquila City at night. Um, I just happened to be in a ravine doing a quest for the Freestar Rangers and I saw this and I was like, this is an interesting shot. But a lot of times you'll get like some of the post processing from like the upscaling can kind of get warped a little bit when you're in photo mode because it's not like photo modes in other games where it basically like when you engage photo mode in like God of War Ragnarok, for example, no matter what mode you're playing in, it's going to lock the frame rate to 30. It's going to bump the resolution to native 4K. So you're going to get the highest quality screenshot, the highest quality photo you can get. This game doesn't do that, from what I can tell. Like it does appear to make some adjustments, but this isn't like immediately bumping everything to ultra and 4K and just locking the frame rate down. So it doesn't always look super super clean. Um, but there's just like choice screenshots. Like this one's really really good. This one's really really nice. I think this one looks interesting. Again, I think the silhouette of the Starborn Guardian ship is really really nice. This is actually maybe before I get off tonight, I'll switch to um, my other scene in OBS where it's just me talking. It's just my head. This is actually the background for that, and then this is the picture that I just took. So definitely have been taking a lot of photos, and I've been uploading a lot of them to Instagram and Twitter and Mastodon. So definitely, if you follow me there, you will see those pictures because I am uploading them quite regularly.
This is where I belong.
So let's see where I need to go. Because again, I am doing this quest. So I need to find Barrett and Heller. So I need to travel to Altair IVD, which is all the way over here. I also have, I just realized there's a mod. I think it's the faster UI mod or something like that. Basically, all of these hold things are much faster. Oh, oh my ears! I'm being talked off. I'm being talked at. Oh well, let me accept this hail. I accepted this last time. When I was first playing, I got the exact same thing. So basically, this is a budget tour, like space tours company, and they want to ask you questions as a real ship captain. Um, so let's see what they ask. If it's probably the same questions. Um, so far, I would say yes. It's exciting. A movie about me would be extremely exciting. No, keep asking. I want to answer all of your questions. Um, I get by. It's expensive, but the ship was free, so it doesn't matter. Um, I'm not really the person to answer that. I think that my answer to that question would just be there's a lot of space that isn't controlled. Um, so I think having more space affiliated would probably solve a lot of the problems. But oh yeah, these are the same questions. So this is the question of do I have do I have someone at every in every planet that I can do the dirty with? Big old no. I've only got eyes for Sam, which is different from the first run. The first run, I only had eyes for Sarah. Sarah Morgan. It was the British accent. Honestly, the British accent just makes me weak in the knees. Um, I have a soft spot for that accent. Um, and they're all going to Neon, where they're going to get drugs. Um, so let's go find Barrett and Heller. But I have been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate. Actually, this game has now surpassed Baldur's Gate in raw playtime for me. I am at I don't even want to see. Let me get out of the ship. Hold on. Let me quick save, and then let me go into load. And yeah, so I'm at I'm at 36, almost 37 hours playing on this save. That is definitely an under count. I think there's definitely some lost playtime in terms of that because the discrepancy between the save and the Xbox app is enormous. If I bring it up, let me read you what the Xbox app says. Now, the Xbox app is not going to include the 40-ish minutes that I've been playing on stream and the maybe 10 minutes that I had the game open before I started playing it. But according to the Xbox app, I am at 50, almost 51 hours. So by the end of this, I'll probably be at like 53, 53 and a half by the time that we're done. Um, that is pretty pretty solid amount of playtime. If you're curious of how that compares to Baldur's Gate, I am at 56. So I am just under Baldur's Gate in terms of playtime. But that is a huge discrepancy. That is half a day, over half a day of discrepancy between what the game is reporting and what the Xbox app is reporting. So there's definitely, there was this instance where I left the game open for a few hours. Um, oh shit, where am I supposed to go? Hold on. That's not what I meant to do. Okay, it's over there. I don't know why it's telling me to go to my ship. Unless it's like really far away. That's another thing, and I didn't notice this as much the first time, but this game loves to land you really far away from stuff, which is totally fine when you're landing like at a random spot on a planet. But I found a lot of times, like you'll say, I want to land at this specific location on a planet, like a research outpost, or in this case, the crashed ship, and it will actually land you extremely far away. Like extremely far. There's actually, I don't know if I still have this mission or not, but there was a quest I actually gave up on because it kept landing me like thousands of meters away. Like it was clearly going to take me a lot of time to walk to that particular planet or that particular like location. I was literally going to have to spend a ton of time walking there, and so rather than do that, I just opted to not do the mission at the moment because it just kept landing me so far away from where I needed to land. Like it was annoying as all hell. Um, hello, Heller.
Oh, hey, it's you.
But that's definitely an issue in this game
Coming back to me.
where,
What?
again, like I said, if you're just picking a random landing spot, obviously you don't want to land like next to something because that would defeat the purpose of landing
Yeah.
randomly and then
Well,
having
you missed the
several
memo.
things. Because of the way the procedural generation works in this game, you land on a planet, it generates the
So,
landscape, it
hey,
like populates with a
so,
few things that
tonight,
you can go do
back on
that
Vectera.
are several hundred to
And
several thousand meters away from where you landed to give you reason to run
to
around
save someone's life.
um, and
I'll help
explore.
out.
However,
So,
when you specifically select a location, it still has a tendency to
what?
drop you
I
like
think saving their life may be the most important thing
a
you've ever
full
done.
like kilometer or
Seriously.
two away
Man,
sometimes. You have to run the whole
I
way.
was so terrified when you told me you
And
were on board that pirate ship.
it's definitely an issue
I was scared.
with
Sorry, brother.
sometimes you feel like, hey, I need to
Trust
land closer, and
me.
you don't. Especially when you're landing at a specific spot. Like if I say I want to land at a research station, and then I get to that research station that's 600 meters away, and it turns out that that research station has a landing pad on it, and my character chose to land 600 meters away. That's
Not
kind of
with
annoying.
that.
And I think that's why a lot of people are really wanting ground vehicles, like a rover or something, like a moon
Oh,
buggy
how
in
could I
this game,
forget?
is because of that long distance that you have
We should
to
start
run
pretending to
for
be
a lot of these
different.
things.
We'll
Um,
trick the pirates
I'm
into
of
thinking we're
two
detectives.
minds on that.
While one of
Like,
us
on the one
escapes,
hand, I fully understand why Bethesda didn't
how do we
include land
catch
vehicles
the killer?
for
I'll
two reasons. Number one,
against
it
you. What?
trivializes the exploration
Despite my
of
command.
planets
I mean,
because you are able to get it makes them seem smaller because you're able to trek long distances much quicker. Um,
bingo. Blasted the pirate
and
right in the back.
so I understand from their perspective to make these planets seem
Still
bigger.
in orbit like a
If
rocket.
you limit
Right.
how fast people can move, and spread things out enough, you do make the planets seem larger than they actually are. And due to the limitations of their engine, how they load content in this game is basically the planets are broken up into tiles that wrap around the entire planet. And so when you land at a specific section, it basically chooses a tile for you to land in, and then you are in that tile. And if you run far enough in any direction based on where you landed in that tile, you are eventually going to hit a invisible wall. And when you hit that invisible wall, you either have to go back to the planet and select a new location to land, or fast travel to your ship, leave, and then again select a new location to land on the planet. So a dune buggy or a moon rover or something like that is going to make those invisible walls more apparent because you're gonna hit them a lot quicker. Pretty much, the average is if you run in one direction for 10 to 15 minutes, you're gonna hit that wall. I think that's at normal running speed. I don't think that's if you're sprinting the entire time or jumping and using your boost pack and things like that. If you're just running at normal speed, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes. But if you land like close enough in the corner, you could run in one direction for maybe 3 or 4 minutes and hit the wall. So it just depends on where you land. Excuse my little voice crack there. But on the other hand, I fully agree that you should have the option to have those vehicles, because if I land on a planet, especially a barren one, and it's 700, and I'm 700, 800, 900 meters away from something, and there's nothing else on the planet, I may run to that thing. But if I'm 2,000, 3,000 meters away from it, I'm not going. I'm not making my trek all the way over there. Like, it's just not going to happen. I'm going to get back on my ship and I'm going to leave. That's just the way it's going to be. And so,
You got it. Catch you on the flip side.
cool. So you are assigned to my ship, but not actually on my ship. Good to know. Is that the... Do I have 2 missions active? I do. I didn't realize that was possible. It's not. The game just bugged and I had 2 missions active. Okay. I was like, I don't think... I've never seen that.
You've given the fleet a lot of trouble, Barrett. Hey, since when is surviving being attacked causing trouble? Isn't that just fighting back? Hey, pilot, could you move your arm a little bit to the left? I can't make out the
Keep
color.
jumping systems. Gotta keep going. Gotta keep going.
Don't move. He's trying to figure out our destination. Probably transmitting this conversation right now while we're still in orbit. Well, yeah.
Alright. So in my previous playthrough, I was very, very polite with these pirates. I don't think I'm going to be as polite this time.
Away from the console. Towards this lovely view of space we have out the window. Tie him up.
But yeah, like I said, I think it looks really interesting, but again, like you look at that glass texture is just abhorrently bad. And then when you're on the inside, it's just a disaster. Like, it's just bland and empty, and it's just not very interesting. Oh! Well, this is a welcome. My frame rate seems worse than normal, but that's probably because I'm streaming, if I had to guess. I don't have my frame rate counter up. I can pull it up really quick. And, oh yeah, this is definitely way worse than normal. But that's to be expected, especially when you're using NVIDIA Broadcast for a lot of stuff as well. But no, I guess that is what's in there. Oh, what the hell? Delete the whole thing. Da-da-da-da. Don't mind me, just looting ammo and money because it's very difficult to get ammo and money. Okay. Well, that's clearly that one. People... You're gonna come into the chat. Don't try to sell me something. Just come in, have a good time. That's all we're here for. Alright. Is this one, and then this one. This is a computer. I'm gonna deactivate the turrets. I want to kill these people myself. Can you not? Like, can you please? And can you do something, Sam? My goodness. I'm doing all the work over here. I keep getting shot. Oh, from all the way up there? Okay, well, you're gonna have to hold on a minute. I'm busy. Oh my goodness, what are you doing? Where the fuck did you go? Oh, there you are. Just die. Oh yeah, we be killing people. We be killing fools. That's what we do. Run around and kill people. It's not exactly the most polite thing. And it's a little hypocritical of you, by the way, Sam, because if I were to just randomly run up to some guy and cap them, pop a cap in their brain, he would be so upset with me. Because these people shot first, it's fine. Even though technically we landed here with the intention of shooting them. Oh, how sweet. Oh, my fucking aim is horrendous. You still can't kill me. Sit down. Be humble. There we go. That was a nice little chest full of stuff. God, Sam. Get out of my way. I missed this the first time, too. Whoops. I did not mean to switch weapons. Go back to my Maelstrom, which is... Oh, no, Tombstone. Sorry. Also, this is a bug that has been bothering me. I don't know when it popped up, and I don't know if it's just the Tombstone or not, but when I put the weapon away and I bring it back out, my hand pops up, but the animation displays for the other hand. That could be an FOV thing. That could be because I've set the FOV. But it only happens with the Tombstone. Like, if I do it with this, like, it's fun. I think if I do it with any other two-handed weapon, I think it'll also be fun. Yes, it's just the Tombstone. So I definitely would prefer to find a different weapon, but this Tombstone is pretty damn good, so I'm probably just going to keep using it. Oh, this is another advanced lock. Okay. Thankfully, I have plenty of digipicks, and I'm slowly learning this this game a little bit better. Oh, yeah, no, that's it right there. And then this one. I will say that advanced and novice locks are really, really easy. But when you get into like expert and master locks, they are a pain in the ass. Just a total pain. For no goddamn reason whatsoever. They're just way more difficult than They need to be. And there's a safe over there that's an expert, so I may try it. And don't hate me, but I probably will. Ooh, ammo. See if there's anything else legal down here. Skim with the bejeez. Ooh, books! Move, move, move. I'm a book collector. Alright, let's try to unlock this thing. So this is an expert lock. So you see you have a lot more digipicks and you have 3 rings. So this is only usable on the interior ring. So that helps a lot because then I know that it's going to be like, no. It says it's only usable on the inside ring. But then you actually go and try to use it. Oh, no. Okay, it's there. So that goes on the inside. And then this is also only usable on the inside ring. Okay, but so this probably doesn't get used then. Maybe. Because see, this is only usable on the inside ring and that goes there. Without a doubt. That goes there. And then this goes there. So that and that are your inside rings. Now, this is an outside or an inside ring, but we know that these two are only inside and these two only will unlock the inside. So this one can be used on this ring for sure. So now I just need this one. No, not that one. Sorry. That one. Okay, so now this one and this one will unlock the outer ring. So now, and this one unlock the inside ring. So now I just need to find the things that unlock the middle ring. So not that, not that, not that. Oh. Okay, this, which will do there, and then this, which will do there. Yeah, yeah. So this one, whoops, sorry. This one and that one. Then this one and this one. And then that one and that one. So, lock picking in this game is fun. I do like it. I definitely like the digipick system more than I like, say, Skyrim's lockpicking game. Because the digipick system, the lockpicking system in Skyrim feels very much like it was designed for controllers with vibration. And so on PC, I always found that it was a little bit much. I still think, personally, the best lock-picking hacking minigame is the hacking terminals in Fallout with the code words. There's something about that system that is just and has not been supplanted. Apparently, I broke my leg at some point. What did I do? Oh, apparently I had a fractured limb, and so incoming damage is increased. And I do not remember that. Just gonna let Barrett talk to this guy. Why I continue to loot this place. Also, I don't know who at Bethesda made this decision, but the fact that you cannot open like cases or doors or use or like lock things or you like use like digipicks and stuff. In this view, when you have the scanner open, the fact that you cannot do that stuff is such an arbitrary, stupid restriction. It's done. Like, why can't I open a door? Like, why can't I open a case with this up? Especially when this is, like, the only surefire way to know if something is lootable or not.
actually found.
Yes, I did, Barrett. I did actually
Why did I
find
get a
you.
feeling this is what we'd find? It's good to see you, Barrett.
Well, this
So
is
let's
great.
have our little conversation.
You know, it's actually been kind of nice. Matsura the Grim here is a great host.
No sense letting people's last moments be unpleasant.
That's
That's
good.
what I like about you, Matsura.
You know, don't
Real
don't
genuine.
let people's last moments be unpleasant. I think that is a fair thing to do.
Barrett, but I can't just let you go with nothing to show for it. Is Constellation willing to pay ransom in exchange for this man's freedom?
We do not negotiate. Ooh, I can use a sideboard action. Which I have been prone to do.
Very
Doesn't
well.
mean I don't get to kill them, though.
Perhaps it would be best to just let Barrett go.
Well, that was surprisingly.
I just like the fact that I'm using all these Starborn options
Got
Be-
nothing to say to you.
because I did not tell them that I'm Starborn.
You're
So I
so generous.
He's free to go.
I just joined I just joined I just joined Constellation again. I have a book problem. I just keep collecting books. And what's the return to the lodge? Okay, great thing is now that I can just go to the lodge. I don't have to do anything. That's another pet peeve of this game. It's really not something that happens with the Starboard. It's the one reason that I have not yet actually gone and made a new ship. So the lodge is the only place in the entirety of Starfield, the entire game. The lodge is the only place that you can fast travel to at any point. It is the only place you can do that.
This is gorgeous.
If
It's
you
built on lies.
wanted to fast travel anywhere else in the game, oh yeah, and can we also talk really quick about these shitty surface maps? Like, these are just awful. Like, these are bad. Like, who? This is a shit. Not only is it a shitty topographic map, which is what it's supposed to be, it provides like no information whatsoever to help you except just waypoints. But that aside, if I want to fast travel somewhere, like say, let's just say I want to go to Voli and I want to go to Neon. So I want to go here and I want to go to Neon and I want to do this. So there's this land option here, right? If you are far enough away from the planet where you can't technically get there, it won't let you do this. It won't let you fast travel here. You have to go and jump system to system to system, which I think is fine for the most part early game. But once you get late game, it starts to become a chore, especially if you start to mainline specific quest lines and you're jumping and jumping and jumping all the time. It becomes a problem. Now, in my case, once you hit New Game Plus, if you fly the Starborn ship, it's actually not that big of an issue. And if you have enough fuel on your ship, if you build a custom one, if you have enough fuel cells, it's also not that big of a deal. But it is kind of annoying that you constantly have to jump between places, that you can't just go in and do what you want, right? So let's just do that to cure my fractured limb.
Sorry for the wait, everyone.
Come on, Barrett.
Held up on Vectera.
But yeah, it's just annoying. Again, it's not so much now that I have the guardianship, but before I got the guardianship and I was trying to run around all the time in my old ship, it was definitely annoying to have to jump, especially if you don't have the fuel to do multi-system jumps and you literally have to jump from system to system, which is annoying.
And to think the first artifact was taking up dust on the library shelf. Now look at them all.
Quickly talk to you,
So, hey,
and
why don't I stick around? you don't want to get dragged down in the ground.
It's not that I don't.
Not bad.
It's that I want to go around with Space Cowboy here. I don't want to go around with you.
I know everyone's excited.
I'm gonna sell you some shit. Not that I have a lot, but I think I'm gonna have some stuff on my ship. Yes. And she's out of money. Ooh, excuse me.
Stay safe, okay? Ever since I got here. See you later.
But yeah, so like I was saying, this game has definitely exceeded some of my expectations, and it has definitely met most of my expectations. I think it's important and it's good that I went in with the assumption. No, I want to go to my ship. Which, there it is. Okay. I think it's good that I went in with the knowledge that this was going to be more Outer Worlds and less No Man's Sky. Their marketing, their marketing did a good job of not necessarily outright saying that, but definitely did a good job of implying it. Ooh, everything's a little choppy. There we go. Definitely, streaming is definitely taking its toll on this. But yeah, no, it's definitely a game that has lived up in a lot of ways. With um, oop, whoops, I need to go grab that. Free start dipping match. Ooh, yeah, frame rate is bad when streaming. But it's definitely a game that has lived up to my expectations in a lot of ways. It's exceeded some of them, and it is lived up to them in some other ways. But for the most part, on the whole, I will say that this game has really, really surprised me in a lot of ways, and I'm very, very happy with how it has turned out. And I definitely think it is a solid game, and I am excited to see where the modding community takes it. I'm excited to see where the Bethesda takes it with the story DLC and their fixes and all that stuff. I'm very excited to see where this game goes. Like I said, do I think it is my personal game of the year? Probably not. I definitely don't think that it is my personal game of the year. Also, I would like to apologize if the volume on this is extremely high. And if it is, I definitely will address that for future streams. But yeah, no, it's definitely a situation where this game has really lived up to my expectations for it, which is exciting because there was a lot of concern going in that this game wouldn't. So it's definitely nice that it did in the long run. Definitely a huge breath of fresh air. But yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed me playing a little bit of Starfield. I hope you enjoyed my background here. I don't guarantee that I will be doing this again in the next few days. Like I said, this is something that's part of a journey for me, that I want to try to do more of the things that I enjoy. And that's not just playing video games, but it's also talking about them and sharing my experiences with other people. And so I would like to continue to do that in some big ways. And I think this is just the start of that. But again, like with everything going on, it's not necessarily something that I can easily say I will definitely be here on this day at this time. That's just not something that I can do. But I will say that I'm going to do this again. It may not be Starfield, it may be something else, but I am going to do this again. And for all of you that tuned in tonight and watched live, thank you. for everyone that watches this on demand, either on Twitch or on YouTube in the full quality. Which, if you do want to watch these in the highest quality possible, I will be uploading. Basically, when I stream at 720p 60 frames per second, because it's a good balance of resolution, frame rate, bit rate for upload purposes and for people watching. It's just a good solid um, all around experience. But if you want to watch the full fat versions of these streams, I upload the full resolution VODs to YouTube, youtube.com/Taylor Sweeney, TYLORSWEENEY. And they are in full 1440p 60 frames per second quality. So if you want to watch these in max quality, that's where you want to go. But I will be uploading. So if you watch it on demand on Twitch, or if you watch it on demand on YouTube and you enjoyed it, thank you. Give this a thumbs up, like, subscribe, follow, whatever. Again, I'm trying to do this more often. And it's not just going to be games. I do want to do other content as well. So thanks, everybody. Good night.